I don't have time for any hiccups and me losing my hair and wondering what happened. Now I got to cut off 5 inches because, my ends are crazy. Not going to do it. Don't have time. Keep it moving. Hey guys, welcome back. I want to say what's up to all my subbies, and I want to say what's up to all the newbies checking me out for the very first time. I really appreciate it. Come on in, satisfy your curiosity, and come on in, okay? I just wanted to talk about something real quick. I wanted to talk about crunchy ends, okay? Ends, of course, I mean the ends of our hair. Crunchy ends are not our friend. We already know that. That's across the board. While we're growing in our hair and trying to make sure that it's healthy, we need to check on it throughout the strand, and that's including the ends, okay? Ends are the OGs of your hair strand, okay? So they've been here the longest, they've endured the most, they've seen a lot, and we should be really taking care of our ends. If our ends are dry or crunchy, okay, we got to dissect some things and really take care and diagnose what is giving us crunchy ends. The ends really dictate the way the hair is going to go, okay? We cannot have crunchy ends, which means that they're damaged in some way, and have healthy hair. It just doesn't happen that way, okay? So the ends, if the ends are healthy, and when I say healthy, they should feel like the rest of your hair. So if the rest of your strands feel healthy, and then when you get to the bottom and it feels crunchy, then your hair is not healthy, period, okay? Because that is going to affect the rest of your hair. If your ends aren't healthy, you don't have healthy hair. It's going to basically erase everything that you're doing. So we need to take care of our ends. So what causes crunchy ends, okay? Now, when I say crunchy, I mean crunchy like, like crunchy leaves in the fall, when you're walking, you can hear that crunch, okay? Or if you just run your fingers over it and it feels brittle, there's something wrong, okay? There's something wrong and we got to address it. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. We can address it, but let's diagnose what can give us crunchy ends, because we want healthy ends, not crunchy, but healthy, right? Okay. Let's look at hairsprays, okay? A lot of stuff that we spray on our hair, including hairsprays, have alcohol. Now, some alcohols are good and some alcohols are drying, and the ones in hairsprays are very drying, okay? Not only are they drying, but they have polymers in it. Polymers help. It's like a chain-like molecule, and what it does is it leaves, when you spray hairspray on your hair, it leaves like a layer, okay, that basically keeps your hair stiff, or at least from not moving a whole lot. And it's sticky, okay? So if you're spraying hairspray on your hair, because I use hairspray, nothing wrong with hairspray, okay? But that's why I spray it in my hand, so I can basically control how much is going on my hair and where it's going, and making sure that it doesn't stick together. Hairspray is sticky, and when you spray it on your hair, sometimes your hairs can stick together. And combing through that, you have to be very careful, okay? So some hairsprays, they have different levels to them, okay? So some are soft or a soft hold, and some have a harder hold. So you want to kind of stick to the soft hold, but hey, we can work with the hard hold too, because that's what I have, the Moroccan oil that you've seen me use, the hairspray, that's actually hard, or the higher level of hold, I'll say it like that. And what I do is, like I said, I spray it in my hand and I work it through my hair. Okay, just work it through and make sure that I'm making sure that nothing is sort of coagulating on certain strands, because I don't want them to stick together, because when I comb it through, I don't want to have any breakage. I don't want to have to work through it because hairs are sticking together because I have too much hairspray on my hair. But I know that years ago, my mom used to curl her hair with hairspray. And every time she used to curl her hair with hairspray, it had a wonderful hold, but she would have a whole bunch of broken ends on the counter. And I told her, I said, I don't think you're supposed to be doing that, you know. And I have heard of different people using hairsprays to sort of hold the curl while they are curling their hair, but it builds up after a while, and you don't want to do that. The whole point is for it to hold stiff, and after a while, it's going to dry it out. So let's be mindful of how we're using the hairsprays. So not only some hairsprays, but some hair gels. So just be careful. Again, the alcohol content, you know, hairsprays have the alcohol. That's sort of the solvent that mixes with the polymers that make the whole thing work. Okay, so let's be mindful of that, of how we're applying it and whether we're applying it with heat. Okay, we don't want to do that. Just be careful. And not only that, but also how we're combing after we apply it. Just got to be very careful. All right. Okay, we talked about the hairsprays. Now let's get into some of the heat protectants. As I've said before, a good heat protectant is going to do just that. It's going to protect your hair when you apply heat to it. And we do have some people who don't want to buy heat protectants. It's okay. They want to keep everything natural. They want to use oils and so forth and so on. Be careful with oils on your hair. Okay, now sounds like a good idea. Hey, I just slapped some oil on it. It should be fine. Certain oils have a burning point. Okay, it's called a smoke point or a burning point. So you know how when you cook with certain oils, once it gets to a certain temperature, it starts to smoke. And when it starts to smoke, you don't really want that because it emits toxic fumes. That smoke is not good. You don't want to be inhaling anything basically that's smoking, and that's oils included. So with that being said, be very mindful if you're using oils on your hair as a heat protectant, because that may be the culprit. I've seen people use coconut oil on their hair as a heat protectant, whether they're flat ironing or curling. Now, I've heard mixed reviews as far as that's concerned. Even with naturals, okay? Even with naturals who don't use heat on their hair or whatever. Coconut oil has a very low smoke point. So if you're using coconut oil on your hair to flat iron, I would not do that. And you're getting, you know, crunchy ends, I would look at that coconut oil and basically err on the side of caution and not use it. It has a burning, I think it has a burning point of 350. Now, if you're using a flat iron or any type of heating tool and you're going up to like 375 or 345 or whatever, you're pretty much at the precipice of its smoking point, and you don't want that. You don't want to be using something that has a smoking point of 350, and meanwhile your iron is 345, 350, and you know, for me it's 360. So you don't want to fry your hair. Oils have a smoking point, okay, and a lot of them have a low one, and the ones that have higher ones I think are like avocado oil, which is like in the 500s or something like that. But I haven't heard anybody use avocado oil. But coconut oil, I would err on the side of caution, and I would not use those in my DIY heat protectant elixir. Okay, if you're making your own heat protectants, do your research, okay, and make sure that whatever oil you're using does not have a low smoking point, okay? You want something with a higher smoking point. Now, if you've been using it and you have no issues, your ends feel good, your ends are healthy, and we know what healthy ends look like, so let's not even play around. But if your ends are good and they're not crunchy, then by all means, continue what you're doing. But for those who are using it and it's not working for you, stop. It's okay. You don't have to go with the trends or go with what you think should be good for you because it's natural. Don't do it. Your ends tell all, okay? Your ends will let you know, hey, this is not working, because you could be frying your hair, and we don't want that, do we? Nobody wants fried ends. Okay, so don't do it. Okay, so another factor as far as crunchy ends, crunchy, dry, brittle ends, Do not put heat on dirty hair. I know sometimes during the week, I even said that myself, that if my bangs get flat, I might bump it just a little bit of heat, and, just put a little, okay. Do not put heat on dirty hair. Don't do it. Your hair already has natural oils from your scalp. Then it has the dirt from the environment and soot and whatever else is going on, okay? And then it has the polymers and the alcohols and whatever you're using as far as styling products, okay? So if you're going back over your hair and putting heat on your hair when it's already dirty and continuing the process, then you're drying it out. And your ends are the most susceptible. Again, they're the OGs. They've been hanging around for a long time, so they're more susceptible to whatever would damage your hair. And putting heat on dirty hair can be very damaging. In fact, I would not do it at all. I really wouldn't. If your hair is that bad and you feel like you got to put heat in or curl it or whatever is going on, then I would just put it in a ponytail, just chalk it up and say, hey, I'll do it another day, because it's not worth it. It's not worth you losing inches, because you cannot baby brittle hair. You cannot baby crunchy ends, okay? You cannot baby split ends, okay? And all of those are connected, because if they're crunchy, they're damaged, okay? And if they're damaged, more than likely they're dry and split, because if they're dry, they're going to split. Or if they're split, they're definitely dry, okay? So let's not do that, okay? No heat on dirty hair. Let's not do that, okay? Okay, so we're working down the list. Let's see. Okay, I don't do dirty hair. I don't use a whole lot of hairspray. My ends are still crunchy. What's going on? Let's think. Is your hair totally dry when you put heat on your hair? Okay, now I'm not talking about blow drying. I blow dry my hair on heat, okay? But again, blow dryers are different than heating tools as far as curlers and flat irons and pressing irons or whatever else. Of course, a blow dryer blows, so air is coming through the nozzle, okay, of the blow dryer while the heat is also being applied. So you're blowing the water or the moisture off the hairs in order to make it dry, to speed up the process. It's not the same as having wet or damp hair and putting a heating element on it, straight on it, and working it through. So with that being said, if you have wet hair and you're just going along and flat ironing it or pressing it or curling it while it's wet or damp, you're doing damage to your hair, because that water is making that heat that you're applying to it even hotter, which will make your hair dry out and become brittle, okay? And break off, because brittle, crunchy hair, okay, it breaks off. There's no moisture to it, and that's why it's crunchy. We do not want to apply heat while we have damp or wet hair. Don't do it. You're doing yourself a disservice. Your ends will not be happy. The rest of your hair won't be happy either. Just make sure your hair is dry and you have a proper heat protectant on it before applying direct stationary heat. Don't do it. Again, your ends will not fare well over time. Now, I've even heard, now I don't know if you guys have heard or seen, I've seen where there are flat irons that I guess emit steam, and they have teeth on them, and as you're going down, the steam is supposed to straighten out your hair as well as the heat. I've never used it. I don't know anybody who has used it. I personally would not use a steaming flat iron or flat iron that steams. That just, to me, that does not sound safe. Now, I've seen the commercials, and I want to say that I saw someone use it who does have textured hair. Now, her hair didn't come out straight. Her hair still had somewhat of texture to it, which there's nothing wrong with that, depending on what you want. But to me, it seems counterproductive, because we even know that water causes reversion in our hair, whether you're natural or relaxed. You know, it gives that texture back. You know, it makes it not straight. So to do that and then to force it straight with the heat on from the flat plates, I just don't get it. I don't get that. So I'm going to leave that alone, but I personally would not advise it. I'd like to see how their hair is faring well. All those that now this was years ago when I saw that. I don't even know if they still sell those. I'm assuming that they do. But I don't know what hair that would work on. I know it wouldn't work. It doesn't sound like it would work on mine. And again, we're trying to grow our hair and keep it healthy. So if you're not sure of something, err on the side of caution and leave it alone. So steaming flat irons, me personally, I would leave it alone. If I can't make sense of it, I'm not going to give it my 2 cents as far as buying it. I'm just not going to do it. So I'm just going to keep on moving. Okay? I don't have time for any hiccups and me losing my hair and wondering what happened. Now I got to cut off 5 inches because, you know, my ends are crazy. Not going to do it. Don't have time. Keep it moving. Now that we're talking about heat, and a lot of it is related. So heat, we don't want to use excessive heat. Be careful of the heat temperature. Now, a lot of people, I've addressed this before. A lot of people think, oh no, my hair is the coarsest of the coarse and the worst of the worst, or the hardest of the hardest, or the toughest of the toughest. So I need to do 450. I believe that not a lot of people need to do 450, especially if you have all the other factors going on correctly. As far as a heat protectant, okay, and the right iron, you shouldn't have to do high temperatures, okay? And definitely not a lot of passes at high temperatures, even, you know, lower temperature. 450 is pretty darn high, okay? Especially for people with chemicals in their hair, which a relaxer is. That's a whole lot going on your strands, and that can dry out your ends, okay, and cause a lot of breakage, okay? So even besides the temperature, we don't want to leave those heating elements on our hair, or those heating tools on our hair for a long time. When you do your pass, if you're using a flat iron, do your pass, keep it moving, okay, to the next point. Do your pass. You know, I do 2 passes. Some may do 3. Nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't do anything over 4. And again, I say 4 just for the sake of argument. I think 4 is too much, but for the sake of argument, 4, no more than 4. I say lower than that, but I'm not trying to go toe to toe with nobody. I do 4 and my hair is fine. Fine, do 4. I'm saying don't do a lot, okay? And don't rest your iron or curling iron on certain parts for a long time. Because I'm going to tell you, a lot of this stuff is connected to heat. And fried ends do not cooperate. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. Hello. Fried ends do not cooperate. You know, when you curl your hair or flat iron your hair, those ends that are damaged and crunchy and fried, they don't even want to sit still. They go this way, they go that way, they bend, they stick out, they start pop locking and moving crazy because they are damaged. They're not trying to listen to nobody. They're not trying to be obedient. They are damaged. They're crunchy, damaged, dry, and they would have to be cut off, okay? So let's not put ourselves through that. Let's not use excessive heat, okay? Let's find a good temperature to work with, okay? And we want to use the right heat protectant, okay? And we don't want to do a whole lot of passes if you're flat ironing your hair. And with any tool that you're using, you don't want to just sit it on your hair. Work it through. You don't want to just curl. You want to work it through at a good pace. Girl, I saw him last night. I sure did. And he looked crazy. And I told him he looked crazy. Then he looked at me crazy. And I said, you better not act crazy. I know that's right. Crazy. But you ain't hear that from me, okay? This is between me and you. Whatever heating tool you're using, you want to work it through at a good pace. Don't just lay on your hair or lay the tool on your hair and not move it. That can cause damage too. You don't need to do it. Please don't do it. So anyway, those are some of the things that I wanted to touch on as far as crunchy ends. We got to look at all of our hair as far as from the rooter to the tutor, okay? And the ends are the OGs. We got to really take care of them, okay? Put some respect on their name, okay? And take care of them and make sure they feel loved and part of the crew and the family, okay? And your hair is not going to thrive if your ends are not alive. I like that. Because your hair is not going to thrive if your ends are not alive. Oh, come on now. Come on now. So anyway, we were in and out. Okay, hopefully I was able to show you, or we were able to talk about some of the things that may cause crunchy ends. Don't hold on to crunchy ends. Crunchy ends, there is no, you can't bring life back into dead ends. Crunchy ends, that means they are kaput. You got to cut them off. You got to cut them off. It's like a bad relationship. You see it's not working, cut them off. Cut them off. If it's not working, cut them off. So crunchy ends, it's not working. And it's going to be for the betterment of your hair. The sooner that you realize that, okay, whatever the case may be of why your ends got to be crunchy, but once you figured it out, then you know you won't repeat that. Okay, so we don't want to repeat it. We don't want to trim the ends, get healthy ends, and then we're repeating the same cycle and getting crunchy ends again. We are in this to win this, okay? Healthy hair for 2020, that's what we're doing, okay? So again, thank you so much for dialing in and showing up. If you have any questions, just let me know down below, okay? And yeah, I'll be back and I'll be sharing some more things, and I want you guys to really be taking care of yourselves, okay? Now's the time for self-care, both emotionally as well as physically. So you make sure you put yourself in a good light and really take care of yourself during these times, okay? Show up for you, okay? Be there for you, and make sure that you're checking in with yourself and making sure that you're okay, okay? So I will be back and I will be speaking to you. Same Dolce dial, same Dolce channel. All right?